Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It's our Wacky and Weird Wednesday episode. We found a bunch of wacky and weird news when it comes to our universe, showing us things, animals and humans not getting along, and of course, laws that are
AI.
Questionable, yeah. The universe of the AI that is doing crazy things to us, and we're going to talk about it all today and be bewildered by how these things have happened here on Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we look up our stories 10 to 15 minutes before we started. We haven't had any caffeine, we just rolled out of bed, and we are learning to read live on stream. So let's learn to read these headlines first. Today on Wacky and Weird Wednesday, 3 people fighting for their lives and 21 other injured after a horror bee attack in France's Aurillac. Tourist accused of leaving dog in hot locker so she could explore Germany's Neuschwanstein Castle. I apologize for my German.
Artificial intelligence scammer posing as Marco Rubio targets officials in growing threat. The first time the word intelligence and Marco Rubio have been used in the same sentence. And massive boulders ejected during DART mission may complicate future asteroid deflection efforts.
Briton, 18, released from Dubai jail after receiving a royal pardon. And another Russian Kremlin crony has been found dead, gives no clues about his apparent suicide.
Didn't want to enroll in the flying school. And more weird news. You think glass bottles are safer from microplastics? Think again. And fig trees are converting CO2 into stone. Go figure that one out.
In our culture news, Kate Moss's daughter launches first ever Barbie doll with type 1 diabetes.
And it's National Dimples Day. July 9th, 2025 on Before Coffee. July 9th, who wants to put anything on that? It's awful. It's a Wednesday.
It looks like the national days are on holiday along with everyone else, so we're not going to be celebrating much today.
Well, it's O.J. Simpson's day, so we can celebrate the great professional football career of the all-time players. Great.
First black guy to get away with murder and then not get away with murder.
And put in jail for stealing back his own stuff. Anyway.
All right. Let's get in with our first segue here.
You gotta laugh at American justice.
I mean, it's definitely something to celebrate. Plenty of white people get away with crime, you know? So.
Yeah, only Norm Macdonald could think of this, but Norm Macdonald is like, I think OJ would rather be in jail for murder because, right, you're in jail now. You're a double murderer, right? Everybody's afraid of you. Right? Now he's in jail, and he's, what did you in jail for? I stole back my own stuff. Nobody's afraid of him.
Grand theft robbery on myself.
Yeah. Back some Simpson memorabilia.
But you know what? That's mine. I'm gonna take that back. Okay? Why are you making money off my stuff? But our segue is bad puns.
That's right.
And we're gonna talk about
that was Norm defending OJ. He said he got a raw deal.
Yeah, okay.
Nobody gets sent in prison for that. Yeah. He didn't get a raw deal. That prison sentence is ridiculous. It's a misdemeanor at best. I'm sorry,
They're just like, we finally caught him.
Yeah, right.
Our first story is coming out of France, which is
justice.
This is not a wacky story. This is just a weird story. This is an entire French town was attacked by bees, a huge bee swarm, and some people are actually fighting for their lives from the into anaphylactic shock. You know, your airways closed up. Can't breathe. From Anna Lauren on The Independent, an extraordinary bee attack in the French town of Aurillac has left 24 people injured, with 3 in critical condition, according to local authorities. Passerbys were stung over the span of about 30 minutes on Sunday, which was 6th of July, in the south-central French town, the prefecture of Cantal confirmed. Emergency services, including firefighters and medical teams, swiftly responded to treat the victims. Police established the security perimeter until the storm dispersed. 3 people in critical condition were transported to a local hospital. Pierre Mathonier, the mayor of Aurillac, suggested to French broadcaster France 3 that the incident could be linked to Asian hornets threatening beehives. Interesting. Oh yeah, there was an Asian hornet invasion sometime during COVID, I think. These hives, he noted, have been installed on a downtown hotel's roof terrace over a decade ago, potentially causing the bees to become aggressive. Asian hornets are an invasive species that pose a threat to honeybees. They are originally from Asia, but were accidentally introduced to France in 2004 and have since spread across Europe, including the United Kingdom, where they first were sighted in 2016. All this ended well, Mr. Mathonier said. The emergency services were perfectly coordinated. Mr. Mathonier told local media that the beekeeper had never experienced such behavior from the hotel bee. It raises the question about the presence of hives in the city center. It could have much been more serious. It's shocking. A 70-year-old person was stung 25 times. Aurillac officials said the bee colony would be removed or culled. Deaths from bee stings are not common, according to the National Institute for Health and Clinical Excellence. There are between 2 and 9 deaths due to anaphylaxis from a bee or wasp sting every year in the UK. What about France? What is our stats for France? Of those deaths, wasp stings cause twice as bee stings. So wasps are actually more dangerous than bees. Less than 0.5% of the population suffer from anaphylaxis due to bee stings, a severe allergic reaction. Which we just talked about, right? Closes up everything up. All right, give me a bad pun. I think you already told one before we even did the story.
Yeah, I think I did with the old be careful out there. So I just changed it a little bit. But again, it's too easy. The low-hanging fruit. And the fruit is actually pollinated by bees. So there you go. Yeah. It's the low-hanging fruit pollinated by the lazy bees. Because they're, anyway.
Another one. We got a combo.
Another one. Right. That's a kind of a mixed metaphor, too, right? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway.
That could. My next story is about more animal, but this way it's a not animal welfare. From Ralph Bode, also on The Independent. Police in southern Germany have rescued a dog from a locker at the iconic Neuschwanstein Castle. I want to say in Dutch, which is Neuschwanstein. Yeah, I don't know how to speak German. I don't know. They're not the same. People say Dutch and German are the same, but not. After its owner reportedly confined the animal there despite objections from other tourists. People were like, hey, please don't put your dog in that locker. No, he'll be fine. It's nice and cold and... Yeah, look, there's slots. He can breathe in there. The alleged incident, which police
I gave him some crossword puzzles to do. Come on.
The 6th of July unfolded. Maybe this is his karma, Somebody puts a dog in a locker in Germany, and then the whole village in France is stung by bees. Butterfly effect. It's unfolded at the picture postcard castle, which is famed for its surging turrets and setting in the Alps near the Austrian border. Also famous for being the only castle left in Germany, because all the rest of them were bombed to smithereens. It was just in the middle of nowhere, so nobody bombed it. But all the other castles got destroyed. It's one of the Germany's top tourist attractions. Despite it being a hot summer's day, the locker already being half filled by the pram, women allegedly proceeded to lock the pet inside the small space. Oh, it's too much trouble to walk my little dog all over. If she has a pram for the dog, she can just push the thing around in the castle. Unless they're like, sorry ma'am, you can't bring your dog in a pram. This is a baby stroller for non-British people. You can't bring that around in the castle. No. Which, what's the difference? A baby in a stroller, a dog in the stroller, same thing to me. She then left the tour of the castle according to a statement from the nearby town of Poissy. Security staff were alerted to the situation and subsequently freed the dog, they added. The dog was fortunately unharmed, but visibly glad when it was rescued from an already hot lockup. The police statement said, adding the officers deployed to the scene took him back to the police station. Police did not specify what breed the dog was, but said it was a medium size, about 60 centimeters or 2 feet. Okay, so it wasn't a small dog. It's not a small dog. At the shoulder. So it's 2 feet tall at the shoulder. not 2 feet long. An officer on duty at Fuesin Station contacted by telephone said the dog was a mongrel. Okay. The thing was locked in a locker. You don't have to insult it. It was a mongrel. It was no purebred German Shepherd. I can tell you that.
Oh, God. He doesn't deserve to live. How dare you bring a dog that isn't loaded down
Maybe in
with
Germany,
all kinds
mongrel isn't an insulting word. It's just a flat fact, you know? For me, mongrel is an insult.
Give me that inbred dog any day, I suppose. I don't know. Anyway.
Police said they had initiated criminal proceedings against the owner on suspicion of breaking Germany's animal welfare law. Neuschwanstein Castle is one of Germany's most visited attractions, with more than 1.3 million people passing through its hall each year. Maybe we can go there one day. I've never been to a German castle. We did go to Edinburgh and stuff, but you didn't really see that. Kind of went to the library. Visitor numbers reach as a 6,000 per day in the summer months.
Scotland, man.
Yeah.
Is Edinburgh nicer than the other
Scotland
ones?
than there are in Germany.
I only wanted to see the Stuart castles, like
yeah.
You know, but that was just me. That was me.
Visitors numbers reach as many as 6,000 per day in the summer months. It was built as a private residence of King Ludwig II of Bavaria and opened in the late 800s, shortly after his death. It features Gothic, Romanesque, Byzantine architecture and was designed to mimic German castles from the Middle Ages. Not from the Middle Ages, but it's designed to mimic one. I mean, like most buildings that last long into out of the age of antiquity, they start picking in different pieces from different eras. You know, like, I would like a gargoyle. Or, hey, let's put a spire that does a little spinny thing at the top, and also let's put a rooster on top of that. And yeah, this is all just mingled together. But luckily, the dog's safe, and I guess the owner of the dog is gonna get, probably fined, or I don't think they're gonna get jail time for bad animal welfare. I think they're just gonna get fined for that. And maybe they learned the lesson. Don't put a dog in a freaking locker. I don't know why you have to learn that lesson. I feel like that's common sense, but here on Wacky and Weird Wednesday, common sense has left the building.
They have kennels there, right? You can just go in your
I don't think so.
phone and find a kennel and go, hey, can I leave my dog here for the afternoon? It seems like it's something you could possibly start up.
There must have been a rule against not walking your dog around, because I don't see why you would just not bring your dog with you. Right? Just walk it through.
Or another thing you can do is hire a dog walker. I don't know, but anyway. So he left that dog. He just wanted, when he got back, when it rescued that dog, was it a hot dog? I mean, he's been at locker all day in July or August,
originally,
month it was, July,
the headline that I saw for the story was "Hot Dog in Locker Survives," and I was like, "Hot dog? Who gives a shit about a hot dog?" I'm confused. I was like, I have to click this. Somebody left a hot dog in the castle in Germany, and it survived
because of it. Because it was anywhere near Coney Island on July 4th, old Joey Chestnut would have eaten it. That's why.
Of course, one of the comments on this story says, the owner deserves a similar punishment. If they didn't realize how dangerous that would be for the poor dog, perhaps a spell in a locker on a similarly hot day might teach her a lesson of responsibility and compassion towards animals.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's see how might.
I don't know. Okay, if the locker's big enough and there's water and food and they're back in like an hour and a half, I don't see the problem. I really don't.
Yeah,
but if you've gone all day and it's a hot locker and there's no food and water, then of course the dog's gonna be barking the whole damn time.
Yeah.
And it's gonna piss on shit.
I mean, at least if it's barking, then it knows that it's alive in there. As soon as a dog stops barking, that's when I would worry that it's getting dehydrated. But yeah, it doesn't say here how long it was in there. They just said it was a hot summer's day, and it was cramped in there with a pram.
Yeah.
A tourist could have called as soon as they saw it, right? They could have been in there for 10 minutes at max.
If you go on a trip with your dog, you're already adding a lot of complications. You should have planned for them.
Exactly. So, irresponsible dog owner for sure. Okay, let's roll our next segue for your story. Come on, Will.
All right.
Will needs something that's different. Time to come up with a hypothetical.
This opens it up. Ooh. Now AI is impersonating Marco Rubio, who has almost no personality. I have no idea what his political bent is because he's basically a sycophant to Trump or whoever can give him power. This is from theguardian.com. AI scammer posing as Marco Rubio targets officials in a growing threat. Marco Rubio somehow became the Secretary of State for the United States. I know, right? Huh? Wow.
And all you have is cronies. You just have to keep on picking the cronies.
Yeah. That means after the president, vice president, speaker of the House, president pro tem, Marco Rubio is fourth in line for president. That's what he wants. Maybe he's got a plan behind that, huh? Well, who knows? He's a devious little bastard.
Well, we don't know, right? Because we barely know the guy. He's just generic.
Yeah,
over
he's
there.
a sycophant. Yeah, he's JD Vance and him are the same person. He's JD Vance without a beard.
Generic white guy, number 5442. I don't know.
And make no mistake, pushing his buttons. He's not doing this because he's totally has his own personality or anything. He's easy, right? The easiest person to find is people that are just empty vessels. You can pay him to do anything you want. No political direction. Anyway, this is from Joseph G. Gideon of theguardian.com. An unknown fraudster has used artificial intelligence to impersonate the U.S. Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, contacting at least 5 senior officials. According to the State Department, cable first seen by the Washington Post and confirmed by The Guardian, the imposter sent fake voice messages and text that mimics Rubio's voice and writing style to those targets, including 3 foreign ministers, a U.S. governor, and a member of Congress. The cable dated 3 July said the imposter left voicemails on Signal, which again, Signal is not approved or never was approved by the Department of Defense or anybody in the government for communications, secure communications. But these morons still use it. Go figure. You can hack Signal and get everybody's information. Go figure. They're still using it. The cable dated 3 July said the imposter left voicemails on Signal for at least 2 targeted individuals and sent text messages inviting others to communicate on the platform. It's still a mystery who's behind the Rubio scam, but the cable reads that the goal has been gaining access to information or accounts of powerful government officials. Yeah, that's right. Who's running our government? Idiots are running our government. The State Department is aware of this incident and is currently investigating the matter. Oh, I'm sure they're investigating with their skeleton crew. And senior State Department official, the department takes seriously its responsibility to safeguard its information and continuously take steps to improve. That's just complete horseshit. And continuously take steps to improve the department's cybersecurity posture, prevent future incidents. For security reasons and due to our ongoing investigation, we are not in a position to offer further details at this time. So they're not confirming or denying it. They just put out a bullshit statement saying, "Oh, we're keeping you safe." Oh my God! Pardon me if I don't bust out laughing. The threat of AI impersonators has become increasingly common across government agencies. The State Department cable included details that the actor impersonating Rubio created the account in mid-June and was similar to other activities in May when someone impersonated other senior U.S. government officials. That is likely a reference to an impersonator who pretended to be White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles and reached out to her personal contacts and one lawmaker. David Axelrod, who served as senior advisor to Barack Obama, said the AI scam using Rubio was only a matter of time and urged urgent action to defend against such attacks. A Marco Rubio imposter is using AI voice to call high-level officials, Axelrod wrote on X. This is a new world in which we live, and we'd better figure out a way to defend against it because its implications for our democracy and the world. There's a way to authenticate people on communications. I worked in this field. And if you're just randomly believe some clown calling you up, I know Marco Rubio has no personality, and it's real easy to imitate a voice that's deadpan to begin with. But, there's ways to verify everybody. Yeah, learn them. Maybe take a class on it or something, you morons. Anyway, there's your first story.
All right. So, in a hypothetical situation where... American, have you ever seen that, there's a meme now an iceberg, right? You know how icebergs are very shallow at the top and very deep on the bottom? There's a meme now where it says how stupid I thought Americans were, and then the bottom of the iceberg is how stupid they actually are. And it's the typical situation where we have actual intelligent politicians where, that make decisions. I doubt this is one of those.
Right. Yeah, we know for sure.
There's another saying for this, right? If you put 100 monkeys on a typewriter, they might actually type a book or something like that.
Right. That's basically it. He's that monkey, but he doesn't have a typewriter and he doesn't have a brain. So there's the two limiting factors in that little experiment. So yeah, you're giving too much credit, is what I'm saying. All right, so never underestimate the power of stupid people in large groups, as somebody said a long time ago, and that's what the United States is proving. So we're going to close that story, and we're going to talk about the 6 to 8 minute story, which is massive boulders ejected during DART mission. Remember the DART mission where we deflected the asteroid? Well, it comes with some complications. Yeah, we don't know. The butterfly effect we were talking about a minute ago. The butterfly effect, right? We don't know what it actually is going to cause in the long run. This is from phys.org or phys.org. And just in case you wanted to spell it F-I-Z-Z, it's P-H-Y-S. Georgia Zhang wrote the story. Georgia Zhang. You should just make, for a drunk test, make people say her name. Georgia Zhang. You're drunk. These images. Sean Connery wouldn't pass that there. Georgia Zhang. Georgia Zhang. Sean Connery saying that as a caption for a picture. When NASA's DART spacecraft landed into an asteroid moon Dimorphos in September of 22, it didn't just change the asteroid's orbit as intended. It unleashed a massive barrage of boulders, more than 3 times the momentum of the spacecraft itself. A University of Maryland-led team of astronomers found that while the mission successfully proved that kinetic impactors like the DART spacecraft could alter the asteroid's path, the resulting ejected boulders created forces in unexpected directions that could complicate future deflection efforts. According to the team's new paper, published in the Planetary Science Journal on July 4th, 2025, the other day, just using asteroid deflection for planetary defense is likely far more complex than researchers initially understood. We succeeded in deflecting an asteroid, moving it from its orbit, said Tony Farnham, lead author of the paper and research scientist at UMD's, University of Maryland, Department of Astronomy. Our research showed that while the direct impact of the DART spacecraft caused this change, the boulders ejected gave an additional kick that was almost as big. The additional factor changes the physics we need to consider when planning these missions. That's right. If you're ejecting a boulder, there has to be some kind of force, right, in the opposite direction. So that deflection and that expulsion of the boulder was a whole nother reaction they hadn't planned on, is what I'm reading here. Using images taken by Lucia Cube, which is, I guess, another big long acronym, a small Italian spacecraft that observed DART's aftermath, the astronomers tracked 104 boulders. What do you do all day? I track boulders? Okay, cool. Ranging from 0.2 to 3.6 meters in radius as they shot away from the Dimorphos at speeds of 52 meters per second. 0.2 meters radius. What the hell is 0.2 meters? Well, 0.2 meters, a meter's about like that. Half a meter is about like that, right? So 0.2 will be 20% of that. But that's the radius of the smallest. So right that. I'm just guessing. That's not a very big rock. I don't even call that a boulder. Dimorphos had speeds up to 52 meters per second. They're flying at 52 meters per second. They're 116 miles per hour. I love how they convert metric systems to regular systems. Yeah, this guy got on his calculator and said, I'll calculate 52 meters per second, but I won't calculate it to kilometers. I'll calculate it to miles. Just to confuse people. Okay.
Well, just add 1,000.
Anyway, 162 miles per hour.
Or I guess divide by
I can drive but at least 162 miles an hour I've actually gone in a car. So I know what that feels like, right? From those images, the team, you've gone in a train easily, right?
Yeah.
From those, in an airplane, for sure. The team determined that three-dimensional locations and velocities of the ejected rocks. Yeah. We saw the boulders weren't scattered randomly in space. Instead, they were clustered in two pretty distinct groups. That's an interesting thing. What keeps that force together? Can't be gravity. Is it gravity? The tiny microgravity? Magnetism, perhaps? They're magnetic rocks? I think they're magnetic rocks. That's probably what it is.
That'd be pretty
Instead,
cool.
they could probably get magnetized from all the radiation in space. I have to ask if meteors and asteroids are magnetic. They have to be, right? They have
a lot of them are made of iron, so I think a lot of them have iron.
So I'm going to say they're clustered together because of polarity. Instead, they were clustered in two pretty distinct groups in the absence of material elsewhere, which means that something unknown is at work here, or it could be polarity, like I just said. So let's not confuse it with things we already know. The largest debris cluster, containing about 70% of the measured objects, was ejected towards the south and at high velocities and shallow angles from the surface. The team believes that the ejected boulders likely came from specific sources, perhaps the larger boulders on Dimorphos that were shattered by dark solar panels just before the main body of the spacecraft hit the surface. So yeah, the smaller stuff. Okay, anyway, dark solar panels likely hit two big boulders called, they gave the boulders names, at least the biggest ones, called Adabac and Bodron.
Well, better than my ninth planet from yesterday's story. F55666.
We're naming rocks.
Yeah. We're naming rocks.
They're going to hey, they've got imaginations. I give them that. Explain the paper's second author. In fact, imagination is way more important than knowledge, according to Einstein. Imagination is way more important than knowledge. Knowledge is just learning something else somebody else already learned.
Yeah.
Think about that. Dark solar panels likely hit two big boulders called Adabac and Bodron on the asteroid. Explain the paper's second author, Jessica Sunshine. What a name. Jessica Sunshine, a professor of astronomy and geology. Of course she is. Your name is Sunshine. You better be an astronomist. Evidence suggests that the southern cluster of ejected material is probably made of fragments of Adabac, a 3.3 meter radius boulder. That's a boulder. Sunshine, who also served as a deputy principal investigator for the UMD, led NASA deep impact mission, compared DART's results with deep impacts, noting how surface features and target decomposition fundamentally shape impact outcomes. Obviously, some elements hold together better than others. That goes without saying. Asteroids are made of many elements. The deep impact hit the surface that was essentially very small, uniform particles, so its ejecta was relatively smooth and continuous. Sunshine explained. Sunshine. And here we see the dart hit a surface that was rocky and full of large boulders, resulting in a chaotic and filamentary structures in its ejecta patterns. Comparing these two missions side by side gives us the insight of how two different types of celestial bodies respond to impacts, which is crucial to ensuring that planetary defense mission is successful. The momentum from the DART impacts ejected bodies was primarily perpendicular to the spacecraft's trajectory, meaning that it could have tilted the Dimorphos orbital plane by up to 1 degree and potentially send the asteroid tumbling erratically into space. The team's work on understanding the effect of the boulder debris will be key to the European Space Agency's Hera mission, which will arrive at the Didymos Dimorphos system in 2026. So we're going back there to try to find us another asteroid and go, what can we do this time? Data gathered from the Lycia Cube, whatever it's pronounced, provides additional perspectives on the impact event, especially as DART was originally designed to solely rely on Earth-based observations, Farnham said. Hera will do the same by giving us another direct view of the impact of the aftermath, relying on our predictions to be made using the data from DART. Farnham noted that these multiple perspectives and close-up images from Lycia Cube gave the DART team information that would have been impossible to detect from Earth, including data on the asteroid boulders. The new study suggests the importance of considering these variables in planning future asteroid deflection missions. missions. If an asteroid was tumbling toward us, and we knew we had to move it at a specific amount to prevent it from hitting Earth, then all these subtleties become very, very important. You can think of it as a cosmic pool game. We might miss the pocket if we don't consider all the variables. So there's your metaphor at the end. The cosmic pool
really
game. When your cue ball hits the 3 ball, a whole bunch of fragments don't shoot off into space. So there's your difference.
I mean, that'd be scary. What if you hit one and then you just made a bunch of... Well, here you go. Here's our hypothetical, right? The whole idea here is that we're testing equipment, destroy a meteor that would land on the planet, right? Maybe even a planet-destroying one, right? That's the idea.
Yeah.
So, in a hypothetical situation, it would be very bad if, when we try to destroy this, planet-destroying meteor, it just flinches off into a bunch of pieces and then, just shatters a bunch of other locations. So instead of landing, it's going to land on Hawaii. Well, now it's landed on South Africa, India, and, I don't know, the UK, because it's splintered into a bunch of pieces. So.
Right.
And I guess they could also
What if we discover an asteroid contains this mysterious element that cures cancer? That'd be pretty cool, right?
Well, I think we've already discovered the element that does that. We just need more of it.
Right. No, I'm just saying it's like an instant cure. Like, it doesn't make you sick or nothing.
Yeah. I don't know how much you know about cancer research, but I think there's 5 different ways they do it, but there is one that specifically targets cancer cells, but there's also one that specifically targets all your cells, and that's the one that I think we first discovered. That's the one that makes you really, really sick. That's the chemotherapy that just kills all your cells. But there's one where cancer cells really love it, and they love eating it, and then they die. There's also that chemotherapy.
I'm sure the cure being suppressed, and medical schools are sitting there going, we need a grant to study cancer. We need a grant to study cancer.
As soon as that meteor collapses.
And that meteor. But if we start harvesting meteors for minerals, that would be something, right? Then this would be something. Oh yeah, and we didn't prevent it from hitting Earth, but we found if we hit it really hard, a bunch of gold spilled out of it. Big gigantic boulders of gold.
We literally did alchemy. We did alchemy, and we created gold.
I see a really stupid rich guy going, if we had a planet made of gold, I'd spend the money to go get it. Once you bring all that gold back to Earth, gold will become virtually useless. I mean, worthless.
It's still useful. It's still useful.
It'll be as common as water. It'll be common as water. It'll have no value whatsoever.
And then we're going to have to base our currency off of something else.
Not useless, but worthless. Yeah. Not worthless. Not useless, but worthless. That's what I meant to say. Anyway.
But there is
gold.
Our new segue is a non sequitur.
Rare enough. Yeah.
And we're going to read my next story, which is about a boy who has been arrested in Dubai, or was arrested in Dubai, has been given a royal pardon by the UK government. And what was his crime? Sleeping with a 17-year-old girl as an 18-year-old man. I love how they say that too. In the sentence.
Yeah,
they say 18-year-old man, 17-year-old girl. 1 year. Only 1 year is what separates them from being an adult.
Perhaps,
okay.
This perhaps is from John, minutes. Perhaps minutes. You don't even know,
right?
It
could months. John Besley of The Independent is reporting the story. An 18-year-old man sentenced to 1 year in Dubai jail for having a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old girl has been released and is safely in the UK, a campaign has said. Marcus Fakana of Tottenham, North London, received a royal pardon from Dubai ruler Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, detained in Dubai, said. Group's chief executive, Radha Sterling, said Mr. Fakana is currently recovering, adding in the statement, the case has attracted significant public attention due to concerns about the criminalization of tourists and disproportionate sentencing. We believe this case highlights the urgent need for expedited legal processes for foreign nationals and safeguards against unnecessary custodial sentences. Yeah, we're going to put this guy in jail for 1 month, but it's going to take us 8 months to actually sentence him. So he's actually going to be in jail for 8 months. All because he slept with a 17-year-old girl. As far as I'm concerned, they're not mentioning any sexual assault here. So it was probably consensual. 2 young adults decided to have sex, and they got... did she get criminalized? I have no idea. Maybe not. Group's chief executive, maybe she got a beating by her dad or something. That's what I would expect anyway.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Beat her on the bottom of her feet, probably, so that leave marks.
Oh, right, of course.
That's what they did.
Mr. Bacano was with his parents in the United Arab Emirates from the end of August when a holiday romance blossomed with an... Oh, so it's another person from the UK, dude. So there's another Londoner who has since turned 18. The camp. So 2 people from the UK had sex in the UAE, and he got put in jail for it. Oh, the story is even crazier than I thought it was. Oh, I was thinking, okay, makes sense.
Wow.
Hey, you slept with one of our UAE people. How dare you? But it's like you slept with somebody from your country in our country. How dare you? You're not married. It's because they have a law against you have to be married to do this. But of course, if you're rich enough, you can get away with all sorts of things. Because I actually had a, let's call him an e-boyfriend from the UAE. Because I never met him in real life, but he was from the UAE. Like, yeah, it's illegal to drink here, but if you know the right club to go to, you can drink all night long if you want. If you're rich enough, you can break all the religious laws. Unfortunately for Mr. Fakana, he was not rich enough to break the law. So his holiday romance blossoming put him in jail. After returning to the UK and seeing pictures and chats, the girl's mother reported the relation to the Dubai police. Wow. I was just talking about this before the show started, right? There's this concept, I didn't know if this was a thing in the UK, but it is definitely a thing in the United States, at least when I was in high school, where if you, as an underage girl, even if you're at the age of consent, which is 16 in Maryland, you had sex with an 18-year-old, the parents of you, or of the girl, right, would sue the boy as a pedophile, and then he would be a pedophile for his whole life, right, because he had some consensual relationships with a 16-year-old girl. The parents wanted to get back, right? It's a punishment for you for life. Well, this sounds like, right? How dare you spoil my daughter? You're gonna go to jail in Dubai. Take that.
Yeah.
That's the next time you put your penis where it doesn't belong. Anyways.
Right.
He was arrested. By the way, I don't know if this is relevant. It might be relevant. I don't know. But I just want to say there's a picture of the perpetrator. The perpetrator is black and not light-skinned, dark black. So that I don't know if that's in here. As an American, it would be a problem for some people. I'm not saying people in the UK aren't racist. Definitely aren't.
But it's just straight up an oligarchy.
I need to see what the girl looks like, and then I think I can maybe make an assumption. But yet again, none of this stuff, all of this is hearsay. All of this is hearsay.
You look for human rights. You're looking for human rights there. You're not going to find it.
Yeah. In Dubai, if an adult has a sexual relationship with a person under 18, they can be prosecuted for having sexual relationship with a minor. Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office has been contacted for comment, but hasn't said anything. I'm curious if there's any. There's no comments on this for you, but yeah, very suspicious. A lot of things all around. At least they used a really nice photo for the Marcus Fakana here. He's just in a suit, a blue suit. He just got his hair done. Looks like so. At least they gave him they didn't put the jail photo, right? They always do that in America. They put like, look at him. He's a criminal. But there's your wacky story. Lucky for us, or lucky for society. He's been freed from his crime of having sex in Dubai.
And of
oh my! I don't want to live in this world. Also, hello, Tommy. Good morning. How are you doing today?
He's got to fight off. Hello, Tommy. Hello. We have, of course, he's going to be in jail where he's going to fight off advances of all the inmates, right?
Yeah, I don't want to think about, I don't know. It didn't say how long he was in jail. It just says they freed him.
Yeah, no, it'd probably be
last August, so I guess. I don't know. Oh, happy rank up. Thank you for ranking up, Vanka. I think he was probably in jail since August when this happened, because it happened in August, and then I guess I guess the mom saw on her phone that her daughter was like hanging out with some kid, and was like, "Who the fuck is this?" Oh yeah, I had sex with them. Oh, we call the police. Dubai, somebody had sex with them.
My God, how do you think people got here? How do you think people got here?
17-year-old and 18-year-old.
I was looking on another person at another article in this story. I'm obviously making this up. But they contacted Prince Andrew about this story, and he said 17. Who wants an old hag like that? Who wants an old hag?
Oh, as long as Prince Andrew doesn't go to Dubai. Though I guess he's rich enough that he could go to Dubai and get away with it.
Oh, you know that guy knows all the spots.
Oh. All right, for more wacky news, let's go into something, it relates to our story on Friday, which no one has seen because our Friday episode is just a complete mess. Hopefully we avoid complete messes for the time being. But on Friday, we talked about how somebody was initiated into flying school and fell out of a building and they were saying, it's suicide, yeah! How mysterious, a minister in the government was killed. Killed himself, yeah. But this one is also a Kremlin crony. Oh no, sorry, I don't know if it's a Kremlin crony. Well, they're a minister. The transportation minister in Russia was recently fired, actually. Has been found dead in what is considered a apparent suicide. This is on AP News, coming out of Moscow. The apparent suicide of Russian transportation minister brought expressions of shock and sorrow last Tuesday, which was yesterday. I don't know why yesterday, which was the 8th of July, from the Kremlin, but no new clues as to why Roman Starovoyt might have taken his own life. With media speculation that he potentially was facing corruption charges. Isn't that everyone in the government? Must have really done something if he's getting corruption charges in Moscow.
No, he was going to tell the truth.
You're giving money to the UN. You can't do that. They're our enemy. I don't know.
Corruption's a great word, right? You don't need to be specific.
Yeah. You decided you're corrupt because you eat peanuts. Okay. Starovoyt, who served in his post for a little over a year, so not very long, found dead from a gunshot wound. Ooh. News that broke hours after a decree was issued on Monday, the 7th of July, by President Vladimir Putin that dismissed dictator. I don't know why we call him a president. Dictator. Dismissed the 53-year-old cabinet member. He was dismissed and then supposedly killed himself. Starovoyt's body was found in the Odinsovo district, just west of the capital, in his home, to many members of the Russian elite, according to the investigation committee. The country's top criminal investigation agency said that the criminal probe was launched in his death, and investigators saw suicide as a most likely cause. Well, did he have gunpowder on his hands? That's the first indicator. We're not going to ever find out. Why are we talking about this like they're going to tell us the truth?
They couldn't force him into the elevator. That's all that happened here.
Tommy here saying they said Putin was wrong once. He's corrupt. You're corrupt. You said no to me. You're corrupt. They
we can stage a suicide of every type. We're not just building throwers.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We can do all the staging we need. They usually said Starovoyt's body was found in his car, not in his apartment. Sorry, I thought it was in his apartment. But Russian media then carried the image from the later reported that he was found dead in a small park. Okay, so first the agency says he was found in his car, but then another Russian media who had images showed that he was found in a parking lot, and he left his Tesla and pistol presented to him as an official gift was at his side. So they did find a pistol, but I could put it in your hand and say you did it yourself. Reports said Starovoyt's personal assistant was asked to identify his body, and afterwards. Yeah, you have to go look at a guy who shot himself in the head. It's not a nice image. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov refused to comment on the circumstances of the death, saying that the investigators will determine the details. Such information is always tragic and sad, Peskov said, noting that Putin was immediately informed about it. Naturally, we were shocked by it, that they found the body so fast. Just kidding, that was me. Say that. Russian media reported Starovoyt's dismissal and his death could have been linked to an investigation embezzlement of state funds allocated for building fortifications in the first region, where he was governor for 5 years before becoming minister. Ah, okay. Embezzling, the classic government grift. Starovoyt's successor as governor, Alexei Smirnov, stepped down in December and was arrested on embezzlement charges in April. Oh, so he's like, hey, I've been embezzling funds here. I'll hook you up. Some Russian media have claimed that Smirnov had told investigators about Starovoyt's alleged involvement in the corruption scheme, and his arrest appeared inevitable. Some commentators even allege that Starovoyt's associates in higher echelons could have ordered his killing to avoid exposure. Yeah, there you go. Right? He didn't do any embezzlement, but now we're talking about it. So, mission failed? The alleged embezzlement was
must be a cultural thing.
Right? Yeah, I guess. The alleged embezzlement has been cited as one reason that behind the Russian military's failure to stem a surprise August 24 incursion in the region by Ukrainian troops that quickly overwhelmed lightly armed Russian border guards and army conscripts. The incursion humiliated the Kremlin, the first time the country's territory was occupied by an invader since World War II. You know what? Honestly, if there's Kremlin cronies who are embezzling funds so that they can't actually win the war, they're kind of secretly heroes to the Ukrainians. Hey, thanks. Thanks for buying that yacht. Now you can't afford any emplacements and we can invade. We can have an offensive into your territory. Don't have any emplacements.
Thanks for causing that. Thanks for causing that competent government official to fly out of a building. Now your agency can't do its job properly because you got cronies in charge instead of competent people.
Thanks a lot, dude.
Right.
Russian military announced in April that its troops had fully reclaimed the border territory nearly 9 months after losing chunks of the region. Ukraine has disputed that assertion. They're going to say anything they can to keep morale up. On July 1st, former Deputy Defense Minister Timur Ivanov was convicted on charges of embezzlement, laundering, and sentenced to 13 years in prison. A high-profile case that exposed rampant military corruption, widely blamed for Moscow's military attacks in Ukraine. Ivanov was the most visible figure in the far-ranging probe into alleged military graft, and also targeted several other top officials who were close to former Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, a veteran official, had personal ties to Putin throughout the purge of his inner circle, and was given a high-profile post as Secretary of Russia's Security Council. Ivanov, 49, was named Deputy Defense Minister in 2016, which was probably right after Crimea, and oversaw military construction projects, as well as property management, housing, and medical supports for troops. He was known for his lavish lifestyle, suspicious, that outraged many in Moscow, just as the fighting in Ukraine exposed glaring deficiencies in Russian military organization and supplies that resulted in battlefield setbacks. We could buy some more guns for our units, or I could buy a new dress for my wife. Yeah. Oh, so many decisions. Hard being an official in Russia. Putin named Andrei Nikitin, who served as Deputy Transport Minister, to replace Starovoyt. Lawmakers in the lower house of Russian parliament quickly endorsed the day on the July. Starovoyt, who was divorced, is survived by 2 daughters. Sorry. Feel bad for the daughters, I guess. I feel bad for any child living in Russia right now. It must be awful. Just propaganda up on top of propaganda happening. I felt the same way growing up in the United States.
Time for revolution, man. Time for revolution in Russia. I'm a big fan of the Russian Revolution myself, actually. Being the original one.
Yeah, the Red Revolution as well. A good one.
Yeah, it was actually well-intentioned because they were definitely being ruled by a royal family that was out of touch.
Yeah, 100%.
And that just can't happen in the modern world. And that's what happened. The modern world caught up with, Karl Marx told everybody, about how things, he gets the blame for all it. Again, when you have rich people controlling everything, it's just a matter of time where people are like, you know what? There's like 8 of them and 8 million of us.
Wait a minute.
Why are we doing this for these clowns that give us nothing? So, there's your non sequitur.
Okay.
Revolution, Russia. Let's get at it. Russia, I'm looking at you. I'm talking to you, Russia. What are you doing? Come on.
Killing all their officials. I mean,
14
corrupting, being corrupted. All right, now I have a bad pun for you for your stories.
All right. Bad pun time. Do you think glass bottles are safer? Well, Well, nothing's safe, apparently. This is from foodandwine.com. Stacy Layska. And that's what she says in a headline. You think glass bottles are safe? We've been talking about microplastics. Everybody let out a big sigh. We can't trust anything. Man.
Another thing
the evidence
that's
showing the harmful. Yep. Just don't drink. Just drink water directly out of the pond. Who cares? Just let the microbes and pathogens kill you. The evidence showing that the harmful effects of microplastics is building up. Study after study shows that microplastics are appearing in our land, food, and even in our brains. While research on how microplastics affect human health is still developing, there's evidence to suggest they negatively affect our gut, liver, and possibly even our DNA. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say our intelligence, because we sure do have a lot of stupid people these days. But if you've switched... No, I mean, stupid is one thing, but if you think you're smart, it's dangerous. But if you're switched to glass to avoid microplastics, you might want to reconsider. In late June, France's Food Safety Agency released the findings of a surprising study which showed that drinks sold in glass bottles contain more microplastics than those in plastic bottles.
Wait a minute, people aren't getting their daily microplastic dosage. We need to put some extra in there.
God, it's just totally counterintuitive, isn't it? Guillaume Dufresne at the French Food Safety Institute explained that AFP, which is I don't know, I guess that's the name of this subset of this magazine or something.
Agence France Presse, the French AP, basically.
Okay. All right, then. He explained to them that the researchers aimed to investigate the quantity of microplastics in different types of drinks sold in France and examine the impact of different containers can have. Their work examined the impact of different containers, including plastic, glass, brick. Brick? They're selling things in brick containers? I got to see that. Can Cubitainer, and including water, tea, lemonade, soda, beer, and wine. Microplastics in all the containers studied. The team concluded that counterintuitively, drinks sold in glass bottles were more contaminated by microplastics. But how? Experiments have shown that these microplastics originate from the exterior paint of capsules, the team wrote, indicating that the plastics are likely coming from the plastic caps on the top of the bottle. They added that a cleaning step before encapsulating can significantly reduce beverage contaminations. However, cleaning does not remove all the microplastics from the capsule. We expected the opposite result, Iseline Chaib, a PhD student who conducted the research, additionally shared with In the glass, the particles emerging from the samples were the same shape, color, and polymer composition. What? Am I breaking up?
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
We noticed that in glass, the particles emerging from the samples were the same shape, color, and polymer composition. So therefore, the same plastic painting outside of the caps that sealed the glass bottles. And it wasn't by a small margin. The study found that glass bottles of soda, ice, tea, beer, and lemonade contained about 100 microplastic particles per liter, which Biz.org explains is up to 50 times higher than the number detected in plastic or can. Mind-blowing. I guess the glass, I'm going to go out and speculate, the glass overheats faster.
Yeah?
Cause the plastics to break down into the water. That's my guess, because ultraviolet rays and heat from the sun will hit your glass and amplify the heat a little bit faster in plastic. And inside there is a chemical process going on, dissolving the plastic. That's my guess. I'm not a scientist. These findings shouldn't surprise regular readers of Food and Wine. As we previously reported, 2024 study found that the more you open and close a soda bottle, the more microplastics are introduced to the drink through the cap. The researchers discovered that with each additional opening, microplastic level rose, reaching 46 particles for Coca-Cola by the 20th opening and 62 for Schweppes. Hey, that's
not Schweppes.
62 Schweppes. Schweppes, which makes a lot of drink. There was, however, some good news in the latest study. The team found that water contained microplastics, as did wine bottles. The researchers couldn't determine why. Yeah, they all got drunk. That's why. All the microplastics got drunk and forgot where they were. Got lost. All right, there's your story.
You mean my segue?
Then we're going to talk about fig trees. Yeah, your segue. Let's have it. And I'm going to go have it.
My segue here is, you know how some women say, I can fix him? No, you can't. The chemicals that make you want a baby are mixing with decades of microplastics in your brain.
That's right. In a couple of years, you won't be able to tie your shoe.
You won't be able to. Yeah.
That's everybody, by the way. We're all just, we all just deteriorate back into little babies, helpless babies. All right, and the next story. This is from fizz.org again. Fig trees convert atmospheric CO2 to stone, research reveals. Whoa, that's mind-blowing. Fig trees have been around forever. European Association of Geochemistry is responsible for this article. So probably a whole bunch of people wrote it. And it's got a picture of a fig tree next to a giant boulder. Who made who, right? Some species of fig trees store calcium in their trunks, essentially turning themselves partially into stone. The new research has found. A team of Indian, U.S., Austrian, and Swiss scientists found that trees could draw carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and store it as calcium carbonate rocks in the surrounding soil. The research was presented at the Goldschmidt Conference in Prague. The trees, native to Kenya, are one of the first fruit trees shown to have this ability known as oxalate carbonate pathway. All trees use photosynthesis to turn CO2 into organic carbon, which forms their trunk, branches, roots, and leaves. This is why planting trees is seen as a potential means to mitigate CO2 emissions. Certain trees also use CO2 to create calcium oxalate crystals. When parts of the tree decay, these crystals are converted by specialized bacteria or fungi into calcium carbonate, the same mineral as limestone or chalk. So if you have a lot of limestone in your ground, you probably had a lot of trees at one time there, I would guess. That would be an indicator.
Yeah.
Possibly. This increases the soil pH around the tree while also increasing the ability of certain nutrients. Also increasing availability of certain nutrients. Does it increase in pH, make it more acidic or less acidic? Don't know how that works quite.
Either way, it makes it more or less acidic. The higher the number is basic, the lesser the number the acidic.
All right, so it makes it less acidic.
What is inorganic carbon? Alkaline, sorry. Alkaline is the higher the number.
Yeah, make the mess alkaline, right.
Yeah, I got a D in chemistry, and I learned that much.
Right. There's always the internet. The inorganic carbon and calcium carbonate typically has much longer lifetime in the soil than organic carbon, making it more effective method of CO2 sequestration. Yeah, it doesn't just get released by you just going, hey, let's burn it. Right? Dr. Maybe you can. You can burn everything. Dr. Marco Rubio, senior lecturer of the University of Zurich, UZH, said oxalate carbonate pathway for some time, but its potential for sequestering carbon hasn't been fully considered. If we're planting trees for agroforestry and the ability to store CO2 as organic carbon while producing food, we could choose trees that provide an additional benefit by sequestering or inorganic carbon also in the form of calcium carbonate. The team from UZH Nairobi Technical University at Kenya, Sadhana Forest, Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, University of California, Davis, and the University of Neuschwanstein studied the 3 species of fig tree grown in Samburu County, Kenya. They identified how far from the tree the calcium carbonate was being formed and identified the microbial communities involved in the process. Using synchrotron analysis at the Stanford Synchrotron Radiation Light Source, they found that the calcium carbonate was being formed both on the exterior of tree trunks and deeper within the wood. As Dr. Raleigh explained, as the calcium carbonate is formed, the soil around the tree becomes more alkaline. The calcium carbonate is formed both on the surface of the tree and within the wood structures, likely as microorganisms decompose crystals on the surface and also penetrate deeper into the tree. It shows that inorganic compound is being sequestered more deeply within the wood than we previously realized. Of the 3 types of fig tree studied, the scientists found that the Ficus wickefieldi was the most effective at sequestering CO2 as calcium carbonate. They are now planning to assess the tree's sustainability for agroforest by quantifying its water requirements and fruit yields, and by doing a more detailed analysis of how CO2 can be sequestered under different conditions. Most of the research into oxalate carbonate pathway has been in typical habitats and focused on trees that do not produce food. The first tree to be identified as having an active oxalate carbonate pathway, the Aurillac, or the Milicia excelsa, can sequester 1 ton of calcium carbonate over in the soil over its lifetime. 1 ton per tree. Wow, that's all. I don't know how big that would look, but it'd have to be quite a lot. Big in the tree, under the tree, in the soil, just everywhere. Calcium oxalate is one of the most abundant biominerals, and the crystals are produced by many plants. The microorganisms that convert calcium oxalate calcium carbonate are also widespread. It's in drier environments by Dr. Rowley. However, even in winter environments, the carbon can still be sequestered. So far, numerous species of tree have been identified which can form calcium carbonate, but we believe there are many more. This means that the oxalate carbonate pathway could be a significant underexplored opportunity to plant trees or forestry or fruit. There's your story. Turn to stone. Reminds me of a song by
the problem. Hopefully, it will be a popular solution. And make sure to listen for that bark. I'm a fig tree. Welcome. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Three puns. I
got it.
All right.
That was nice.
Thank you.
Make an extra mixing there. You let that mix a little too long. That's right. That was nice. All right.
Oh, I think everything's in carton walls. Yeah, the first story. Everything. What we store stuff in, milk cartons. Those are also used in plastic. Cardboard is technically plastic as well. Glass is plastic. Plastic is plastic. Bags are plastic.
I don't know. They used to coat. They should go back to coating milk cartons in wax, right?
Oh, yes. I thought that.
Before plastic, they used wax.
Okay.
Yeah, wax is paraffin.
Yeah.
It's probably deadly too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Whatever.
You're gonna get ear cancer or something.
In spite of this, humans live longer than ever. In spite of all this shit. What can I say? We're just living longer than summer.
Keep on living and living. Our next segue is going to be an accurate metaphor and simile. So give me a simile for our culture news, which is about a new Barbie, the first Barbie to be launched with 1 diabetes, coming from Kate Moss's daughter. Kate Moss, of course, is famous for an English model. She's a supermodel. I was like, I know her name, but I don't remember what she did. This is from Grinka Sorokowska and Your Culture. Fashion for some will always come first when introducing the first Barbie doll with a type 1 diabetes. Mattel are showing once again that the world of child's play can be a space for true representation of different social groups. Yeah, now that you have a type 1 diabetes daughter, you won't have children going, why do you have that thing in your arm? They'll just be like, oh, you're like my Barbie. That's why this stuff is important, by the way, in case anyone didn't know why Barbie has to have 15 different jobs and all different colors of skin and hairstyles, so that children aren't going, oh, what is that creature? Every time they see something new. They already know what it is from their Barbie.
Right.
Supermodel Kate Moss's daughter, Leela, has launched the first Barbie doll with type 1 diabetes in a bid to raise awareness, boost representation, and inspire children. Moss, 22, a global model for type 1 diabetes, has been honored with her own one-of-a-kind doll. Behind the new Barbie lies not only the Mattel brand's sensitivity to the needs of little ones, but also specific knowledge and collaboration with the medical community. The project was developed with Breakthrough T1D, formerly JDRF, an organization which for years has been conducting research and activities to support people living with type 1 diabetes. The new Barbie not only wears a stylish polka dot outfit, but the color blue and circle prints are nods to global symbols of diabetes awareness, but also realistically replicates everyday elements of treatment: a continuous glucose monitor, CGM, insulin pump, and accessories that children with T1D know from their own lives. Type 1 diabetes, life under constant control. Type 1 diabetes is a chronic autoimmune disease in which the body stops producing insulin, a hormone essential for regulating blood sugar levels. It requires daily monitoring and treatment with insulin and can serious complications. Contrary to popular belief, it's not the result of a poor diet or lifestyle, because its causes are not completely understood. Also increasingly being diagnosed in adults. Up to half new cases are estimated for age 18. I think originally the idea was type 1 you are born with and type 2 get, but like they said, right, that's not actually true, because people are getting it way later in life. They're not born with it. The new doll has been enthusiastically received by the T1D community. Mattel also honored fitness instructor Robin Arzon for advocacy for diabetes. If you get famous enough, you can also be a Barbie doll. Arzon and Moss are their own one-of-the-kind Barbie dolls created in their likeness. The Moss has been open about her illness for years. Does not hide her sugar monitor device even on the red carpet. Then they show a picture of her not wearing one. Unless it's skin colored. I don't. Oh no, I see it now. It's on the back of her arm. I thought it was going to be here, but it's on the back. It's like where your bicep, tricep, where your tricep is, where she has hers. In a statement, Leah Moss said, "I am proud to use my platform to educate around type 1 diabetes, show that being different is cool. Receiving messages from people who see my patches and feel represented. I can't speak. I'm trying to. I need to sneeze. My brain stops if I need to sneeze. Like genuinely. All right, let's try this again. Receiving messages from people who see my patches and feel represented means everything to me. To be able to now see Barbie dolls with T1D, receive a Barbie doll that visibly looks like me, even wearing her patches, is both surreal and special. And it's a blonde doll with like a black dress and a black purse. She has her little T1D monitor. Barbie from T1D is the brand's next steps toward real representation. Years, the fashionista line has been expanding with dolls of different colors and silhouettes, disabilities, and stories. The collection already includes dolls with blindness, Down syndrome, hearing aids, prosthetics, among others. But will they ever handle overweight Barbie? We'll see that in the next 10 years, I hope.
Right. Oh, they have them. They do have them. Different body shape. Apparently.
Yeah. Different Barbie shape.
I think they have those. I'm pretty sure
I see here there's like there's a doll here, a shorter doll that's smaller than others. I think is that Sabrina Carpenter? Sabrina Carpenter is very small. I think she's 4'2". She's shorter than me. That's cool. Not all of them are high. I haven't played with Barbies since the 90s, so I don't. Obviously, I'm not a child, so I'm not buying Barbies. So if you're an adult buying Barbies, that's no shame to you. That's your hobby. I'm not going to tell you not to do it, but.
Good.
I have enough junk in my life, and I don't need to buy a bunch of Barbies.
That's okay with that.
The 2025 Barbie fashionista dolls, including this new Type 1 diabetes, are now available on the Mattel shop. If you want to go buy them, not sponsored by Mattel. They couldn't afford us, obviously. We asked for too much. Give me your simile or metaphor.
Well, there's a simile. There's a next logical thing as we get into just basic life functions of Barbie. And I found a list. Some of them are pretty funny, like Laundry Mountain Barbie. The Barbie has a massive pile of miniature laundry, a single mismatched sock, and a look of overwhelmed determination. His accessory could include a tiny dryer sheet and a miniature iron. So yeah, there's your. Also, G.I. Joe probably should get in on this, right? G.I. Joe is the male equivalent, not Ken. Ken is like Barbie's accessory. He's not really.
Ken is 100%. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the Barbie movie, but that is what he is in the Barbie movie. He learns to not be an accessory right? At the end, but yeah.
Forget Ken. Yeah, but let's forget Ken. He was never intended to be a role model for boys, right? He was just to be accessory for Barbie. The role model for boys always was G.I. Joe. Let's make a new G.I. Joe as a simile for that. Like
with different
G.I.
jobs.
Joe's
Male nurse G.I. Joe.
Or gambling addicted G.I. Joe.
I don't think that's very inspirational.
Too many
children,
cats G.I. Joe. Too many cats G.I. Joe is the best one. Like all tats. It comes with peel-off tats, right? You just stick them on there, and he's all tatted up. Oh, and you can wash them off and tat them again, right? I love this idea. Anyway.
Is that your metaphor?
There's your non-sequitur metaphor, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, Barbie is to women as G.I. Joe is to men. I should say girls and boys. Do you have a mic drop moment, by the way, or you haven't thought of anything?
I had one yesterday. Let me see if I can find it.
Right, we'll roll a segue wheel where you're searching for that.
Think of what it was. All right.
Oh boy, sarcasm. I love being sarcastic.
Oh, I know it was.
What is there to be about sarcastic? Oh!
Hey, do a search. Yeah, you're going to have to find one while I do the story. I guess I don't have any time. You're going to have to find a video. It's your turn.
Okay, I'll find something.
Okay, so National Day calendar. Let me see if I can find you to find a video. But this day in history, as I cough again, for the 47th time during the show. And this day in history, in 1540, oh, what's that?
The dry air. Must be a lot of dry air.
Well, it's this fan blowing right directly on me all the time. In 1540, the marriage of King Henry VIII of England and his fourth wife, Anne of Cleves, was annulled. But Henry VIII, that wasn't good enough for him. He got married 7 times. He was quite the scumbag. Speaking of Barbies or G.I. Joe dolls, Henry VIII would have been the biggest one of all the dolls. 1755, General Edward Braddock, British Army, was thoroughly defeated at the Battle of Monongahela during the French and Indian War, as was known in England, the 7 Years' War, which was before the Revolutionary War. In 1816, the Congress of Tucumán declared Argentina's independence from Spain. Said, "Screw you, Spain! Come and do something about it." And Spain didn't do anything about it. 1828, American painter Gilbert Stuart, who was one of the great portrait painters of his area and the creator of distinctively American portrait style, died at the age of 72. Gilbert Stuart, known for the unfinished portrait of George Washington that hangs in the White House. 1850, Zachary Taylor, 12th President of the United States, died only 16 months after taking office. There's rumors that he was poisoned. They actually exhumed his body, and there was no traces of like arsenic or strychnine or the known poisons of the 1850s. But who knows? Maybe somebody discovered a new toxin that killed him and killed him with that. I would say it was inconclusive. He still could have been murdered. It just could have been some other way. 1856. Guess what? Whose birthday it is? It's Nikola Tesla's birthday. There's a birthday to celebrate. Serbian American inventor and researcher. That's right. The guy who actually invented radio, but didn't get credit for it. And the researcher who discovered rotating magnetic field. What does a rotating magnetic field do, my friends? It creates an alternative current electricity. That's right. If you just spin something inside of a magnet, right, it does this thing and this thing and this thing. It's called alternating current. So Nikola Tesla gave us our modern world, the basis for alternating current machinery. Of course, I'm going to finish his bio. Anyway, he was born on this day in Smiljan, Croatia. So we have Croatia to thank for our modern world.
You mean the Nazis that we talked about on Tuesday?
Yeah, right. Obviously, Nazis did not exist when Tesla was around. Tesla was not a Nazi. Let's not get crazy. He was a good guy, perhaps eccentric, but he had his ideas, and He built he had the idea that you could transmit electricity over radio waves, and you actually can do that, but we have not fully explored it. 1911, physicist John Archibald Wheeler, the first American involved in the theoretical development of the atomic bomb, he was born. So a lot of friggin' geniuses born in 1811. 1911, he was born. A lot of people, I can't think. A lot of people born on July 9th were geniuses. This guy helped invent the atomic bomb and was the originator of the term black hole. So good and bad there, of course. We can destroy the planet. Yay! I don't know. Also on 1911 in this day, English novelist and painter Mervyn Peake was born. He was best known for his bizarre Titus Groan trilogy of novels and for his illustrations of his novels and children's story. I am not familiar with this at all. Titus Groan trilogy? Well, I guess I got to read those now. 1955, Rock Around the Clock by Bill Haley and his Comets became the first rock and roll single to hit #1 on Billboard's pop charts. 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, rock. Bill Haley and the Comets. The first rock and roll #1 in the United States. 1956, Tom Hanks was born. Forrest Gump himself. Wonderful everyman persona. He's been in hundreds of movies, of course. Tom Hanks. You don't know what Tom Hanks is? You haven't been paying attention. 1960, the Thresher, the first of a class of U.S. nuclear-powered attack submarines, was launched, and it sank in 1963. The worst submarine accident in history.
Oh.
Hadn't quite worked out all the bugs, had they? 3 years later, and it sunk to the bottom of the ocean. And it's down there with this nuclear reactor going, "Hi, I'm a nuclear reactor. I'm not dangerous at all down here." In 1995, Jerry Garcia passed away. Jerry, who was on the back of my guitar. American psychedelic rock and band, the Grateful Dead, performed their last concert at Soldier Field in Chicago. Lead guitarist, vocalist Jerry Garcia died the following month. Okay, so he didn't die in this day, but they got a picture of him. So he died 1 month after their final.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the last show with Jerry Garcia. But they've been playing. All these musicians have played together ever since. They just call themselves something else besides the Grateful Dead. Jerry Garcia's own. Every member of Grateful Dead had their own side gig, their own band. Jerry Garcia, the Jerry Garcia Band. Everybody in that band, they were loose confederations, like brothers, more than they were, iron. They were one of the few bands, let's put it this way, that didn't get ripped off by the record company. So they should be looked up to for that. For nothing else, they said to the record companies, "Oh, you can record our records, but here's the deal you're going to give us." And they said, "We're not going to give you that." And the Grateful Dead said, "We got a gig at this ballroom. We get paid a lot of money. We don't need a recording contract. Have a nice day." And then the record company came back and said, "We'll do it your way."
Well. Look who came calling.
That's right. "Oh, you want our music now? Why? You saw how big our concerts are. Got it." Anyway, so Grateful Dead did it on their own terms every single time. 2001, the British TV series The Office, created and written by Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant, debuted and became a huge hit, spawning a popular American version and making Gervais a star. I've never watched the British version of The Office.
It's a much more cringe humor, I would say.
Is it? Because I'm not a big fan of the American version. I just sit there and go,
might like it more because you grew up with Monty Python, so I say grew up. Probably
I thought I would like it, but I'm sitting there thinking, okay, all right. I mean, I kind of get it, the humor, but it's like you're pretending to be a reality show, which I thought Parks and Recreation did a better job of. Myself, they had better characters. I didn't identify with any. I actually like Parks and Recreation is almost identical theme show, but to me it's funnier. It's got funnier people. Anyway, 2002. Hearing the three, there would not be enough eligible players to continue Major League Baseball. Commissioner Bud Selig stopped the annual All-Star game in the 11th inning with the score tied 7-7, which was really fucking stupid. It's an exhibition game, but I get what he was doing. It's 11th inning. It's probably midnight, curfew. This is not a game that counts in the standings. All of these guys have regular jobs they got to go back to. This is a Tuesday in the middle of the week. We all got to start playing baseball again on Thursday. We're not going to drag this game out until it ends, because baseball, they will play the game until somebody wins. So he just called it off. You ran out of players. In baseball, you put a player in the game, right? And if you take him out, he can't go back in. That's the rules. So anyway, there's a big controversy about a bunch of people getting excited about nothing. 2011, South Sudan declared its independence for a referendum to secede from Sudan. Passed overwhelmingly. Of course, let's get the hell out of here. 2019, Ross Perot died at the age of 89. He ran for U.S. president as an independent in 1992. Received some 90% of the popular vote. Horrible human being. So, whatever. I mean, he gets a lot of press for being this billionaire. Who cares? But he's a virulent racist. Should be remembered for being a virulent racist and not much else. Running for president and being a virulent racist. Those are his two calling cards. In 1762, on this day, is our feature biography, Catherine the Great. We were talking about the Russian Revolution. Well, way back when Russia was an empire, when the place where Putin wants to get back to. Catherine the Great overthrew Peter III on this day in 1762 and began her reign as the Empress of Russia, leading her country to full participation in the political and cultural life of Europe and extending Russian territory. Isn't it interesting that the person that controlled the most land in the history of the world is Queen Victoria, and the person who controlled the most land in the history of Russia is Catherine the Great, both women? Isn't that interesting? Maybe it's easier to fight for a woman, right? It's like, yeah, we gotta fight for the queen. Ah! That's gotta be what it is, right?
Yeah, maybe.
It's gotta be. Yeah. One of your guiding principles in knighthood is what? Chivalry. Yeah. So there you go. Chivalry and knighthood cannot be separated. So your fighting for the queen is more important than fighting for the king in that case. O.J. Simpson's birthday today. Hey, everybody's birthday. He was born July 9th, 1947 in San Francisco. He died just last year, April 10th, 2024, age of 76. Heisman Trophy winner, all-time great, and accused double murderer. We can't call him a double murderer. Was never proven it. Sorry. But he was thrown in jail for stealing his own stuff. Other birthdays say it's Miss Lindsey Graham's. Oh, there's one we could play. Oh my God, we can play tomorrow. Lindsey Graham, United States Senator, one who is he has the testicles the size of grains of rice. Let's put it that way. He has no balls.
Yeah, he just
Tom Hanks' birthday.
Likes him.
He was born 1 year to. Yeah, we call him Miss Lindsay for that reason. That's what he's called, Miss Lindsay. No stones whatsoever. No guy who said. I mean, he said some fun shit. Lindsey Graham's a guy who said this. Actually said this. I should have linked this video. No,
women don't want him either.
This is really funny. He says, "Yeah, Lindsey Graham. Boy, he's probably
women do not
gay and hiding it. But either way, he had a funny line. He hates Ted Cruz as much as everybody else. So he said this. He said, "You could murder Ted Cruz. Lindsey Graham said this. You could murder Ted Cruz on the Senate floor, and you would get nobody here to testify against you." That's what he said about Ted Cruz, right? So, yeah, at least he said that. So hats off to Lindsey Graham for saying that. Perfect. I mean, that is the funniest thing. One of the funniest things I've had. Tom Hanks' birthday we covered. It's Courtney Love's birthday. Courtney Love is turning 61 today. That hardly seems possible. American musician and actress, widow of Kurt Cobain, mother of his child. Jack White's birthday. Jack White and Courtney Love had the same birthday. Jack White is turning 50. Hardly seems possible, does it? So it's happy birthday to Jack White. And what other days is it today? If you don't know what Jack White is, White Stripes. That's who Jack White is.
The white part, and his wife was the Stripes, and then they got a divorce.
He's one of those guys that took his wife's name when they got married. His original name is not White. I don't even know what it is. But he took his wife's name. His wife's name is Meg White. They got divorced and they still were in a band together. National Dimples Day today. It's National Sugar Cookies Day. That's it today. So that's your spins of the wheel, your days, your birthdays, your mispronunciations, your bad puns, your similes, all that crap. For July 9th, 2025 on Before Sugar Cookies.
Sugar cookies, good. I wish I had time to make some sugar cookies. Oh, we went so long, we're having another ad break.
That would be great.
Lose it. We have 5 minutes to finish the show, and then we're gonna have an ad break.
Did you send me?
Yes, I sent you. Check your message.
Did
check
you?
Your messages. I found a speech to Tom Hanks by Steve Martin. That's what I found. Okay, there are no international days today. My sarcasm is about man. Good thing. It's a good thing Catherine the Great killed her husband. I think more people with very powerful husbands should do that. Totally. Great idea. She really was great, though. They didn't call her Catherine the Great sarcastically. She actually was better than her husband, Peter III. In every way. He just wanted to start wars and conquer the entire of Europe. And she was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's take care of the people that are in our country first before we start invading people. So, yeah, Catherine Great, actually great. Actually great. But you know what they say, women can't lead.
As far as monarchs can be. Yeah. As good as monarchs can lead, right?
No, I don't know her whole history, but I heard she was actually pretty great, especially considered at the time. This has been Allison here from the Netherlands and Roger from the East Coast of the U.S. as we finish off a Wacky and Weird Wednesday. I hope you learned a lot of wacky and weird things that are going on. Please don't put your dog in lockers. Don't try to blow up asteroids, because you might create, I guess, a bunch of pieces of asteroid. We're working on it, guys. We're working on the asteroid destruction. And of course, plant a fig tree. Yes, let's plant some fig tree. Save the planet. See you tomorrow for Thursday's 13. We're going to have a list of 13 things that that Roger will create for us that we can argue about in the comments, or actually on the stream we'll probably argue about it. Really? You put that in there? I have no idea what the list is. We kind of come up with it on the day that it happens. So I think you have some lists in your backlog that you can settle on.
I have a team of scientists.
A team of scientists helping you with them. Okay.
Team of
Forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. That supports us enough. Liking the video, commenting your favorite story or anything we said that you disagree with. We will see your comments and maybe argue with you in the comments if you want to do that. If you want to troll us in the comments, go for it. And don't turn on that notification so you know when we go live and post a video. And of course, support us on Patreon if you would like to donate a little bit of money to the show, because we make no money off of doing the show. It's there in the chat now and also in the description. Here is our mic drop moment. So this was in 2002, a long time ago. Some people might not have been born when this happened.
Thank you, and welcome to the 30th Annual AFI Life Achievement Award, or as it is known this year,
30th Annual.
Before Tom Hanks I think he got really caught on fire after this.
We're here tonight to
He's been like a household name.
Tom Hanks. And the great thing...
Yeah, this is way after Forrest Gump.
This is before
but tonight is really about him.
The one about the Hudson plane landing. Pretty big too.
Oh yeah.
Otto, I hear that show he was in, Otto.
I remember when I first saw Tom Hanks in a movie, I thought, this guy's good.
Yeah, he played Sully.
And then I saw him in Big, and I thought, he's got comedy chops. That's fantastic, and that's a rare quality. Then in Apollo 13, I saw the brilliance of his dramatic acting. And I said to myself, mother.
Well, there goes my career. Tom Hanks exists. The only F-bomb. Frankie Muniz. Child Frankie Muniz. Oh, God.
As an actor, you have shown great range. And those of you actors in the room who don't know what the word means, let me give you an example of range. In one movie I did...
Talking about himself. I love it.
I'm an expert on these things, you see.
Lawyer, and in the movie I'm doing currently, I am playing a tax lawyer.
Wow, serious role.
Rain.
Now, Tom has uttered some of the most memorable lines in the film business. Houston, we have a problem. Life is like a box of chocolates.
That's true.
And of course, I'd rather do it my way, Mr. Spielberg. But how did Tom come so far so quickly? Well, nepotism.
Nepotism, yeah, definitely.
It just so happens that his great-great-great-great-great-great-grand-uncle, Luke Hanks, was none other than the great-great-grandfather of Abraham Lincoln. And I'm not kidding. Take a look.
Wow.
You can...
They don't look exactly the same.
You can really see the similarities. Except, of course, for the honesty. Now, every major career takes a stumble. And the measure of an artist is his ability to stage a comeback. After Forrest Gump failed to take in even $600 million, Tom, you bounced back with Saving Private Ryan, which unfortunately stalled around $300 million. And yet, here you are tonight.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.